Good morning, gang. Happy Thursday morning. Okay, as y'all get up, get ready to go to work, go to the store, go to school, you're going to drive there, chances are. Maybe a few of you will take public transportation, but most of us are going to get in our POV, personally owned vehicle, and drive wherever we are going to go. Did that just get more expensive last night? Maybe. Let's discuss it. Last night, or late yesterday afternoon, Donald Trump signed the 25% automobile tariff into law, if you will, and it goes into effect on April 2nd. Now, you may be saying, it doesn't affect me. I already own my car. I'm not buying a car. Maybe, but we'll get into that as well, because we want to talk about parts, all right? But first, let's discuss the tariff on the whole car. Now, the automobile companies will come out and say, oh, they're American made, right? You know, it's just like all these things you see in Walmart that says made in the USA or assembled in the USA. There's a big difference. You ship all the parts over from China and they're put together in Louisiana. That's assembled in the USA. You make the parts in Louisiana and assemble it in Louisiana. That's made in the USA. So, you got to understand, any car company is not making the tires, the steering wheel, the taillights, the engine in the same plant. They're made all over the place, shipped to the assembly plant, and that's where it's put together. Okay? So cars, while they may be assembled in the USA, certainly would not be made in the USA by the definitions of the two. So let's take a look at this. I wanted to go look at what cars are the most American. In other words, would have the least amount of tariffs on them, because all the parts that are overseas, guess what? Those are liable for tariffs too. So if you assemble it in Louisiana but make the parts in China, all the parts that were made in China come over with the 25% tariff. But let's take a look at something. Let's go through what the most American-made cars are. The ones that have assembled in the U.S. with parts made in the U.S. So the ones that be least susceptible to tariffs. Might surprise you, okay? I went and looked, okay? Cars.com, and I'll link this below so you can look at it, puts together something every year called their American-Made Index. So they rank every vehicle, not just manufacturer, but each particular vehicle by the percentage of parts and assembly that is done in the United States. Okay. So let's look at this. It should not surprise anybody that the Tesla Model Y, Tesla being number one, okay? I mean, it's pretty much all made in the U.S. They're the number one, okay? Number two, the Honda Passport. Number three, the Volkswagen ID4. Number four, Tesla Model S. Number five, Honda Odyssey. Number six, Honda Ridgeline. Number seven, Toyota Camry. Number eight, hey, an American company, what do you know? The Jeep Gladiator. Number nine, the Tesla Model X. Number 10, the Lexus TX. Notice anything missing there? Maybe the big three? Okay. Let's take a look and see where those fall. The very first Chrysler product, Dodge, okay, the Dodge 1500 comes in at number 19. The very first GM product is the Chevy Colorado at number 23. The very first Ford product is the Mustang, the coupe, at 31. And obviously everything else, potentially what you own, if it's an American-made, supposedly American-made car, is even less American-made. You know, all of a sudden, the way the media will spin this out. Oh, this is going to penalize the Japanese car companies or something. No, if I take a look at this, let's see. In the top 10, we've got Honda, Toyota, Lexus. 5 of the top 10 would be Japanese companies, or Japanese vehicles at least. 3 of the top 10 are American vehicles, 2 Teslas and a Jeep. Who's this going to penalize? Not necessarily the foreign companies, but the American investors, if you will, are the ones that are going to see stuff go south. Why do I say this? When this was announced last night, Ford stock dropped about 1%. GM stock dropped about 1.6%. Tesla stock dropped about 6%. Okay? Why Tesla, I don't know, but Tesla's kind of a unicorn out there, an outlier in statistics, giving you that. So if you're looking at buying a new car, just give you that, I don't know, maybe Honda might be a better idea. Okay? Not that any of us can afford new cars anymore anyway. Hell, you're paying $40,000 for a used one. But so let's go even deeper. Let's say you've got your car, like most of us, okay, and something goes wrong. You need to get the brakes replaced, or, the air conditioning goes out. God forbid you blow an engine or the transmission drops or something like that. Do the tariffs affect parts, aftermarket parts? Yes, okay. It includes parts made overseas, but there's a caveat, okay. The tariffs apply to things like engines, transmissions, powertrain parts, so basically anything that's under the hood, okay, electrical components, So in order to make your car work, the tariffs do apply to any foreign-made stuff. Give me this. Let's go back to the aforementioned big 3. Where are most GM, Ford, Dodge products made? Mexico and Canada, okay, just giving you that. So tariffs could come into play. There is an exception for parts that are under the USMCA, okay, the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, okay. For vehicles that comply with the USMCA rules, the 25% tariff will only apply to non-US content. All right, so compliant parts from Mexico and Canada will remain tariff-free. So now it comes to a point when you're going to AutoZone and the guy says to you, which alternator do you want? Let's say you've got an older car, it's still, whatever. Okay. Well, where's it made? That question now becomes a whole lot bigger because the U.S. made alternator, not that unless you got an EV, your car's got an alternator, the battery's got to charge somehow. The U.S. made alternator may actually be cheaper than the Chinese made alternator, or the German made alternator, or the Japanese or the Korean or wherever the car's coming from. Okay, sorry, we can't do Yugoslavia anymore. Yugo went out of business years ago. But maintaining your car may have gotten, or may get, because we've still got a few days before the tariffs go into effect. We've talked about this many times before, about having spare parts for your car. Okay. They're going to get harder to get. They're going to get more expensive because and we'll just make up numbers here, let's say Chin's chassis shop or something like that in China is not going to make and send as many parts to the United States if they've got to pay tariffs on them. They may start doing it only by order. So now imagine this. You need a new car part. And now you go to AutoZone or you go to O'Reilly or whoever your auto parts store, and sometimes they'll have it on the shelf. Sometimes they'll tell you they can have it that afternoon or the next day. They'll get it from another store. But with these tariffs coming into play, now they may say, we can order that from you. And it'll come shipped from Europe or Asia or whatever, because the companies will only send the parts that they have to. So now your car may be sidelined for a week at the shop, waiting for the mechanic to get the part, or waiting for you to do it in the driveway. But on modern cars, you can't do squat on your own car. So now, for something simple that used to take your mechanic a couple hours to fix, now your car may be in the shop for a week. So gee, now you gotta borrow a car from a friend, or rent a car, or maybe you and your wife have to carpool to work, or however, because for something simple, you're gonna have to wait a whole lot longer. This is another reason why having some spare parts for your car, things that you know you're going to have to replace sometime, are going to be worthwhile to have stacked in the garage. Brake pads, I'm not saying go out and buy new rotors or something like that. Certainly not telling you to store a spare engine in your garage. No, nothing like that. But think of some of the simple stuff. Windshield wiper blades. Where are those made? Go take a look at the package. Those are going to go up 25%. Okay. Oil filters? Might want to have a couple extra of those on hand. Some of the extra stuff that we've mentioned many, many, many times to have just in case, you may want to have now, because it's going to save you a couple of bucks in the long run. It's not like you're not going to change the wiper blades. It's not like you're going to change the oil filter, pick some other parts, okay, in your car. But if you can, go buy an extra set now and hang them up on the wall out in the garage. Put them on a shelf, put them in a drawer somewhere. Because you're going to use them. They're not going to get cheaper. And God knows, if you're going to go buy a car, you might want to do it this weekend. Have a good one. Pinball out.